The racing starts today, and it starts here in Alicante, Spain. Our 6 VO65 teams have their first import race and their first chance to begin their climb towards the top of the leaderboard. Well, the VO65s are on the water, assessing the race course and the conditions, and this is how the picture looks at the moment. Right now, we've got some clouds in the sky, but that is keeping the wind alive. 9 miles per hour from the southwest, and that's providing enough power for this ocean-going beast to make their way around the course. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be tight, and I'm sure the sailors might be wishing for a little bit more power out there, but the race looks set to begin in fine form. Well, the big question will be, how is this course going to be laid out? What challenge is there for the sailors? Well, it is an import challenge, and it's a tight reaching drag race laid out just in front of Alicante Harbour, and it begins with a reaching start. Our teams will be able to cross the line at full speed. From there, 4 corners, 5 legs, downwind and upwind section as well, before reaching across the line to finish on each lap. Here we go for the start. Racing underway here in Alicante, and a very good start for 4 of our VO65s. No surprise to see Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team in the mix. Viva Mexico, Amber Sail 2 and WindWhisper Racing Team all coming off the line. Well, WindWhisper Racing Team, the leader at the moment. This is the boat that seems to have played the right cards. They took that risky option at the lured end of the start, but they've held on. I mean, you can see just how fragile that lead is. It is these boats there to windward. Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team, they have the risk now. You can see the bows just sort of turning down. Viva Mexico behind them, having to sail a little bit higher. All of these teams on this first leg, it is a jostle to try and find the right breeze, the freshest air. But the thing is, we are getting dangerously close to this first mark, and from there, I mean, things are going to get a bit complicated with the rules.
So the wind's not really that strong, so obviously you need to really keep that clear air. But as they're coming towards this mark, the furthest we go offshore, we're going to have more breeze. And you can see they're starting to power up a little more, and the heel angles are increasing.
Mark 1 in the import race for the VO65 Sprint Cup, and WindWhisper Racing Team have held that position that they took from the start line. They have a lead, but it is narrow, and they are under pressure from Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team to windward. Approaching that windward mark now. WindWhisper Racing Team coming through. They've been able to hold off the Portuguese to windward. Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team will be above. They will have the best breeze, and you can see the Polish team with the red hull just having to pinch to get round the mark, trying to widen their turn. How much of an attacking position that will be for Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team, we will have to see. And a little bit of a moment there, hesitation. They weren't too sure which side to attack. WindWhisper Racing Team in first, Amber Sail 2 in third, Mirpuri between them, and they are darting up and down. I think they're playing a game there. Yes,
the game is that this leg is not a straight line leg. We are going dead downwind, and they are going to have to jibe, and which is basically this. It's a zigzag to get to the next mark.
This is going to need to be the best jibe that they have done. The crew now getting ready.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of pressure on their navigator, Axel Magdal, who I know well. He was working with us on Team SCA, and it's all the pressure on the navigator to call that ley line, not get it too early, but not wait too long.
This is crucial. How well can they deploy that A4 back out from the top? So a good furl, out it comes again. It's a nice smooth turn all the way through. Their speed is going to be dipping down. Hopefully the trimmers can get those sails working again quickly. So as we pull out and just show the geography, I think that the Polish team here in first place, they were vulnerable, but they seem to have played it well. Leading off the line, leading round Mark 1, and now for WindWhisper Racing Team leading round Mark 2 as well. They have held off a very valiant fight for the lead from Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team, but the Polish team go on to the long bottom reaching leg, still in first place. On board now with Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team, and the lead has stretched with WindWhisper Racing Team gaining a few boat lengths, just as you say there, Sam. That low course that the Portuguese had to take after their failed attack running into Mark 2, meaning that the Polish boat stretches out a little bit ahead. Team Yayo now coming into the bottom here, and this just shows how important that ley line is, because they've had to do 2 jives on the way down. Oh, well, rounding Mark 2 in 6th place, the Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genoa, just losing pace with the other players at the moment. But now for this reach, the race starting to stretch out a little bit, and meanwhile, at the front of the field, after that action that we saw at the bottom, it is still WindWhisper Racing Team out in the lead, and if anything, extending on this leg. They have got more distance between them and Mir Puri Foundation Racing Team in 2nd place than Jajo in 3rd.
Obviously the next leg is an upwind leg. There might be a bit of strategy involved. You're going to have to make a choice, left or right. How many tacks to make with a big masthead 0? That can cost you a lot as well if you do too many tacks.
And at what point do the Portuguese team start to think, we're going to have to hold on to 2nd here rather than trying to chase down 1st? Mark 3, WindWhisper Racing Team, they were leading off the line, leading at every single turn, and now as we go into the final stages of lap 1, their lead has stretched.
And Mir Puri obviously attacking, so they're planning on to do several maneuvers, several tacks on this short leg, and it's obviously much quicker to tack with the J1 than with the masthead 0. So they'll probably leave that sail up, furled. They've got a good furl and do those tacks upwind.
Now on board with Team Yayo coming round Mark 3. This is 3rd place. How close are they going to be to the heels of the Portuguese team in 2nd? They've got a good gap between them and 4th and 5th, who are chasing hard, and it's a nice smooth turn, and again it looks like another boat keeping that masthead code 0 up. So now Viva Mexico going round, and look at this, we've got another battle. Amber Sail 2. This was the race that erupted at the last turning mark, with the inside line being taken by Viva Mexico, and Amber Sail 2 are refusing to let that lie. They desperately want to take that spot back. And rounding in 6th place, Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Geneva. They are still in this hunt. Remember, we still do have another lap to go, but they need to find some speed on lap 2, more than they found on lap 1. The team that are laying it down right now, WindWhisper Racing Team, they have stuck with that masthead code 0, and I would say, so far, the right call. Here is the crucial tack, and what a view on board, just to show there are no spare hands on board this boat. The people in blue on the left-hand side of your picture, they are just guests along for this ride, but everybody in red is needed right now. The boat behind them in 2nd that we're looking at now, Mir Puri Foundation Racing Team, that elected to go for the jib. Now they're wondering whether they made the right call. Mir Puri Foundation Racing Team and Team Yayo, and in fact everybody else as well, have been pushed way past the original ley line. Now the Portuguese tack, and just look at the distance between them and 1st place. The WindWhisper Racing Team has already through the finish line of lap 1. They are now on to lap 2, but right now the Portuguese team are under pressure. They are having to pinch to get round Mark 4 on their windward hip. Team Yayo is coming in with pace with the masthead code 0, the bigger sail. They can't point as high, but they've got the speed, and you can see the Dutch team bearing down on them all the time. Pablo Arrarte at the back of the boat, trying desperately to keep the boat going. He can steer to the right, pinch higher, but the speed will bleed out of everything, and then he will slip sideways. Right now they look set to have just enough pace to get round this mark, but it's really going to hurt them, and as they go onto this long reach, they are going to have the Dutch on their windward side. They are sailing high to try and hold back Team Yayo. It's worked at the moment, but only, what, half a boat length. As long as they can keep the Dutch boat in their wake when they turn towards the finish line, the conclusion of lap 1. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd. WindWhisper Racing Team out in 1st place, and they are almost rounding that 1st mark. Viva Mexico, Eric Brockman, the skipper, they are now rounding in 4th place, but they've got a bit of a cushion here. They have got space between them and Amber Sail 2 and Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Geneva, behind. They are now on that top reach, trying to see whether they can get above 8 knots. I mean, Viva Mexico sailing faster than the others, but that might just be a little bit of localized breeze. And I do think that in 2nd place, Mir Puri Foundation Racing Team having to defend. The boat that is not having to do any defensive play at all, WindWhisper Racing Team out in 1st place, off on that 2nd lap. And And to a certain extent here, Sam, I never expected to see a lead like this at the conclusion of lap 1.
I don't think they will celebrate anything yet, because as the wind gets lighter, that's a moment when you can start saying, look, anything can happen now. We've got to keep on our toes and keep an eye on the other boats, and keep an eye out, looking around the surface of the water to see if there's any change in the wind around you.
Here at the moment in second and third, Team Yayo and Merpuri Foundation Racing Team. It is going to be a battle of nerves and patience.
Exactly. You can see the sails are almost flapping. There's so little wind. Boat speeds are down to less than 5 knots, which is really, really tricky in these VO65s.
The skipper at the moment is just got the eyes glued. Antonio Fontes looking at the screen there, trying to work out tactically the best line around this course, because they are slow. At the moment, they are not matching the speed of the boat behind them, and if anything, this breeze is dropping more and more, and there's nothing worse when your speed is bleeding out and you can feel the competition behind you. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, how are they going to attack this downwind leg? Are they going to have enough breeze to sail efficiently downwind? They know they're going to have to do extra jives down here, but they believe it is completely worth it to stay in the small pockets of wind.
Now we can see somebody sent their bowman up to the top of the rig, which is generally what you have to do to kick the battens through and push the mainsail onto the new jibe. That person up there will also be helping look out to see where the best breeze is.
Team Yayo now with the crew member up the top. Viva Mexico going round to the right-hand side of your screen. They've also got somebody up the top. So both of these boats are set up to, well, in your words, try and kick that batten through. WindWhisper Racing Team are going towards the finish. 5.5 knots of boat speed, dipping down to 5 at times. But the Polish team looking good at the moment. They are sailing well, and they're not leaving anything to chance. They still have everybody pushing forward on the boat and tucking in. The finish line is just in front of them now. The race committee shortened this course due to the breeze falling out of the race course. First place has been WindWhisper Racing Team. They have already crossed the finish line.
Patton, you have just won the in-port race. How do you feel?
Well, we won the in-port race, all of us. It has been actually quite tricky. The wind didn't help much, but we did a great start, and that Yeti had a great call on the bow, so that put us in front, so it made a little bit easier the whole race. But yeah, it has been tough, and yeah, we're super happy.
Thank you a lot.